Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shoe Podcast, the only sneaker podcast that is very excited to look at Excel for today's episode. I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
I'm your co-host, Tanner Young. I feed the beast.
And it wasn't my doing. I just want to put it out there. This was a surprise to me. Yeah.
Hey, my man, we're going to pop off in the sheets.
I'm looking forward to it. You know what they say, freaking the sheets. How was your week? You had a good week so far?
So far good. It is weird. I guess it is nice because like I feel like I'm an old truck cold starting on a Monday. You know what I mean? Like Mondays are I'm like, all right, let's get rolling back in it. Let's get rolling. Yeah. And Tuesday I'm like, all right. Oil's warmed up. Wednesday, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is
road's getting a little bumpy.
Gotta fix these potholes. But then I feel like by Thursday I'm like, oh, there we go.
Downhill. And
that's why you keep the 96 Dodge, you know what I mean? And then Friday you kind of roll. And so it is nice because you bring that good energy into the weekend. It's when I get in that couch potato weekend. That's what makes Monday hard. Couch potato weekends make Monday
hard not to. You have 5 days in a row of just being on, locking in, and then the weekend comes around, and you got your responsibilities still, like your personal responsibilities that you should take care of, but it's also like, but I also have a responsibility to take care of myself.
Boom. I am excited. Hopefully we'll be getting back into bowling. I think that's also
nice.
I've been out of that for a minute. So I think hopefully within the next week or two, me and my dad will get back into that. So
nice.
So I'm real happy. Also, Broncos are currently winning.
Go Broncos.
So it's always a good day. Always a good day.
I saw the matchup this week, Broncos v. Saints, and I was like, as a Louisiana Broncos fan, that's going to be house divided.
Very much. Almost bought tickets. Wow. But it being on a Thursday.
Yeah, make it a little tough.
I'm like, 2 days off of work? That's tough. You know?
But
did get to see them last time they were here a couple of years ago. So
there you go.
Shout out to the wife.
Yep.
Shout out to the wife.
Yeah. Broncos, having a season.
Yeah. I mean, but this may be the turnaround.
This could be. It could be for better or worse, really.
Yeah. If honestly, sorry, Saints, because the first two games, I was like, this team is pretty nasty.
They had me.
Week three got pretty rough. It's been It's been tough. So
it's been a challenging watch for sure.
As a Louisiana fan, I'm like, ooh, this is another tough week. But as a Louisiana fan who's a huge fan of the Broncos, I go, okay, I'll take it.
The house doesn't lose. The house never loses. If you love both teams.
I am Kashada. My new Instagram bio. I am Kashada.
There you go.
How's your week? How you living?
So far, so good. I was telling you, I just kind of got into a weekly planner mindset of tracking my little to-dos and my reminders of like events happening on each day. Only on week 2, hold me accountable, chat, that we stick with it here. But I'm enjoying a little bit more kind of structure going on to the week. Keeps me accountable. I've also been in a decluttering / selling thing lately.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, you are blowing up my Facebook right now. Yeah. Boy, Facebook Marketplace, what a world. Let me tell you. I knew it was because I've sold stuff on there before, but it's been a couple of years. What a world.
I would imagine so. You're putting some free stuff up out there too. A lot of vintage.
Yeah. A lot of vintage. Well, it's a lot of, sorry, everyone. We'll talk about shoes eventually. There's a timestamp somewhere down there if you want to hear about shoes.
Look, we plug our podcast. We plug our other side hustles, which is our Facebook Marketplace.
That's right.
For vintage drumwear.
Links to Facebook Marketplace down in the episode description below. No, a lot of that stuff is stuff that I've just acquired over the years from buying vintage drum sets. And then when you sell the drum set, the hardware doesn't always go with it. So it's just been sitting in the shed. So I've had a good rule of thumb lately, which is that my wife moved in 3 years ago. And so now I'll bring something out of the shed and I'll be like, what is this? And she's like, I don't know. I've never seen it. Then I'm like, that's a good sign that it's time.
That's time.
If you've not seen it in 3 years, all right, then it's probably time for it to go. So yeah, trying to declutter a little bit here. But my favorite Facebook Marketplace story from the week that I'll tell you is something I listed earlier this week. And I had someone message me saying, is this still available? And I said, yes. Are you interested? And their response was, kinda. I'm in Mandeville.
Okay.
And that is what I said to them. Tender. I sent them a message back that said, okay, great. Thanks for reaching out.
Thanks for showing interest, I guess.
Ended up selling it to someone else.
Okay, well, that's good. Because I was like, kinda, and then but I'm like, so I don't understand like where Mandeville comes in.
Yeah, buddy, I'm not driving to you. I'm not delivering. I'm not Domino's.
Is that why you were kind of interested?
Right, exactly. I'd be way more interested if you drove it to me an hour away.
Yeah.
Sure.
For
sure.
$60.
40.
Like, dude, I'm gonna.
It was 40. Right. Like,
Oh,
I was
please.
like, I'm not spending 2 hours round trip in the car. And if you want it that bad, come get it. You know?
Yeah. But yeah. Also, dude, I'll walk to the end of my driveway to get this here. I'm not driving an hour.
That was like, for some reason, I swear we'll talk about shoes eventually. The stuff I listed for free, I had more people asking me questions about that than the stuff that was paid. Of like, what's the condition? What's all in the box? And like, where does
it's free? Just come take it.
Right. That's where I'm like, hey, it's free. So if it's worth your time to come look at it, you can do that and then leave with it. But like, I'm getting $0. It's not worth my time to do a lot of back and forth on it here, you know?
Also, I'm listing it for free. I'm not saying it's junk, but it is junk to me.
Right.
Like,
I'm listing it for free because I'm like,
so less.
Yeah. Someone could use it or I could put it in the trash can. And like, I'd rather not put it in the trash can, you know, but like, I've got nothing to lose. Yeah.
But if this doesn't move in a week, it's Scene Republic.
Yeah.
it's getting dumped.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So anyways, that's how my week's been. It's been ups and downs of selling stuff online, but we're doing all right.
Hey, I love that you got a planner. I love that for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, hold me accountable. Check in with me in like probably 4 episodes if I'm still doing it. Next week, I could still having some momentum. 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, around Thanksgiving, things are getting busy. Check with me if I'm still doing it.
Okay, but let's maybe a mulligan. Okay, we got Thanksgiving, Christmas coming at the end. We might mulligan a couple weeks. Okay, that's tough.
All right. All right.
I don't want to give you wiggle room, but
I don't want to give you it out, but you got an excuse if you're looking for it.
But, yeah, you got a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Episode.
Hit me.
So I've been wanting to do a head-to-head episode for a long time, and I really couldn't figure it out. So my first idea was an old school, new school. Turns out everybody just kind of retro stuff. So it's really just, did you like the one they did 15 years ago or the one they did now?
Sure.
So that turned out to be difficult, but I thought it would be a really, really fun idea to do essentially a silhouette versus silhouette head-to-head style. Sorry for all my tier list lovers out there. We're doing bracket style this week.
That's right.
It ain't March, but we got the madness.
Clip. Got one right there. Thank you, everybody. And for those of you that love the tier list, here's a little teaser. We'll be back next week with one. We'll have one literally for you next week. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not colorway specific. This is going to be specifically that silhouette, specifically the model. I tried my best to have each matchup be very similar. You know, it's high tops, low tops, low tops. And even down to the aesthetics that are within each silhouette to try and have it as even of a matchup. But if you are a fan of March Madness and brackets, you obviously will know that there is seeding. So that is something that is gonna, it's gonna play a part in it. Also, I put this episode together, so you got to deal with me. And so it's going to be non-visual heavy, unfortunately.
We got the bracket as a visual.
So I've got at least some good bones. Okay. And then I'm hoping that Ryan and I will work together in the future to build this into what in my head I see it as. Ryan can actually make it happen.
Yeah. And I do want to clarify, I'm willing and happy to help put it together in the future. I don't think you meant it and it didn't come off this way, but I don't want anyone listening to hear like, wow, Ryan decided not to help him with this episode.
Oh, no. Able
to help. We'll get it down for the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very well could have helped. The idea I had of what to do was
we got there.
So bad. There.
Yeah.
But I think this will be a really fun one.
For sure.
So
before we jump in,
yeah.
So what is the theme or the spirit of the bracket? Like, what are we deciding against each one? Is it just our personal preference of which one we like more? Or are we trying to do an element of like which one's bigger in sneaker culture?
I figured for this one, just the first one is going to be a little bit more personal preference.
Okay, gotcha.
I do think that sneaker like impact will play a role in our personal preference. I think with some of these, but I think very much kind of in the same vein of our tier list where it's going to be a little bit more personal preference, and Ryan and I will essentially have to agree.
I was just gonna say
on which shoe moves forward. So
it's like when we do the tier list, except there's not really much compromising here. It's one or the other. So
it is one or the other. And it could play in the sense of once we kind of get through the bracket of, hey, I did kind of let yours slide and I've got mine right here, and
might be some puts and takes here. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So we may have some Cinderella story upsets, and we may have that number 1 seed just taking it all the way to the chip. We'll just have to see how the bracket goes. I thought about having just a good Sweet 16.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Skip the first round. Yeah, we don't need 64 shoes, maybe in the future. But I think a good Sweet 16 will get us our typical, episode length that people are accustomed to.
Okay.
And some good back and forth. I think some of these will be pretty easy layups.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have some. I know there's one in the first round that's going to be. It's almost like a number 1 seed going up against a number 1 seed.
Let's find out, shall we?
All right, let's get into it.
So this is a good time for us to remind everyone that if you're an audio listener, we will have the bracket up as a visual. If you want to view over on YouTube at Shoe Podcast or on Spotify, you can watch it as well. For the audio listeners, we'll be talking about the shoes. So we'll do our best to keep track of where we're at in the bracket as we go here.
There you go.
Hit us with our first matchup. Yeah.
Sweet 16, first matchup. Sorry. We got a Jordan 1 high top, which, and again, this is no specific colorway.
Right.
This is strictly just the silhouette and features that are part of that model.
Yeah.
So it's the Jordan 1 high going up against the Adidas Forum 84 high. Again, a tough one. I didn't like making this one because I was like, honestly, it's going to be tough. Whoever's going up against the Jordan 1.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is very much, I think when people think of the titans of the industry, they are thinking of these two brands. Yeah. Adidas and high tops are not necessarily kind of what they're known for. Especially I think with the Forum 84, I think the low top version is definitely something that was pushed way more heavily,
especially lately. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but trying to stick with similar silhouettes and styles, going with the Jordan 1 and the Adidas Forum 84 high. Somewhat similar. I think kind of the biggest key differences between the two whenever I'm looking at them is almost just how chunky of a shoe do you like? I think the Jordan 1 high is a little bit more, it's not as like puffy looking.
Yeah.
Whereas that Adidas 84 high is definite. I mean, it looks like a puffer jacket on you. So kind of a tough one.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the matchup?
I feel like history tells us the story of this one. Michael Jordan at UNC, University of North Carolina, playing in the Adidas Forum 84 high. You tell me right now, is he still playing well, he's not still playing in anything right now, but
he could.
The Jordan 1 happened because he stopped playing in the Adidas Forum 84 high. And to me, this one is, pun intended, this is the layup. This is the slam dunk of the Sweet 16 of like, there's not much of a there's not much of a, not a conversation, an argument to be made here. I don't think. Very
true. Two very, I think historic silhouettes, but yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear the Jordan 1 is going to move on to our Elite 8.
Look at that.
Absolutely.
Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one. Okay. So now we got to figure out who the Jordan 1 high is going to play in their Elite 8. And our next matchup that we have is, I think these are some pretty big titans right here. This may be a 4 and a 5 seed going up against each other.
This is not bad.
We've got the Nike Air Max 90 going up against the Adidas Ultra Boost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, silhouette style, these aren't necessarily very similar.
No.
I will definitely give that. However, for the purpose, for the functionality of the shoe,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of similarities when they're coming. I mean,
and both being in probably top 15, maybe top 10 silhouettes for each brand, in terms of like popularity.
Oh yeah, these are
some of their biggest
weekend
silhouettes.
pudding exclusive, 100%. Mm-hmm. I think this matchup a little tougher.
Okay.
I've kind of gone over, going through this list.
Mm-hmm.
Probably could have made an adjustment here and there to make it a little bit more tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see your thoughts on this matchup of the Air Max 90 and the Ultra Boost.
This one's tough because had you asked me 8 years ago, it would have been Adidas Ultra Boost hands down, right?
Yeah.
Like the wave that Adidas Ultra Boost had was just undeniable. But lately, I went from having several pairs to I don't have any pairs of them right now. So I'm just, as of right now, I'm on such much more of an Air Max 90 kick. And I think it's also tough because you're comparing something with, what is it now? Probably like 30 years of history to something with like, I don't know how long Ultra Boost is out, maybe 10 years of history.
10, 12, maybe.
So it's kind of tough for something that has such a legacy that feels like, has been cemented as more of a historic retro model against something that I think in its own right, Ultra Boost has become like a modern classic. Like I think it's going to be one of those defining silhouettes for Adidas, but maybe because it's cool. It's right now in the cool down from its like initial hype release, and it can always come back again later. But because we're kind of in that valley of coolness for it right now, I'm leaning towards Air Max 90.
So, and I didn't put it, but I want to have it. This is when I'm talking about the Adidas Ultra Boost, I am talking about the 1.0.
Okay. Yeah.
So
doesn't change too much for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So a lot of my mindset was kind of the same thing. I think Ultra Boost was extremely hype for a long time. And yes, obviously you've got drastic different in history, collaborations, colorway, but again, trying to ignore all that and going just based off of the silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
This one's also tough for me because I like the style of the Air Max 90, but I love the comfort and how the Ultra Boost fits on my foot.
If I was picking one to wear all day, it'd be Ultra Boost hands down. We'd be on the next bracket already, We'd be talking about the next one, but yeah.
And so I did go back and forth between putting the Air Max 90 or the Air Max 1 in this slot. But I ended up going with the 90 just because I think, kind of like you said, these are, again, very, very popular silhouettes. Probably the most popular silhouettes of each brand.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you and the Air Max 90 taking it. Just based off of if I'm putting an outfit together and I'm going out, I'm more than likely going to grab an Air Max 90 over an Ultra Boost. And I still have Ultra Boost. I still have plenty of Ultra Boost. But if I'm putting an outfit together, I'm putting a 90.
I think also because Adidas Ultra Boost is such like a sock upper shoe, which just doesn't really feel like kind of what's going on right now, So it's just not a great period right now for Adidas Ultra Boost. Not that they're bad. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's just not
100%.
It's not what I'm gravitating towards these days.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what, speaking of a sock upper, we have the next one, which again, if we're talking about a battle that happened in sneaker history, I don't think one gets more iconic than this matchup, which is our Yeezy 350 V1 versus the Roshi Run.
Yeah.
I mean, this right here is, I think, if we would go down a list of sneaker battles, this has got to be
this is one of them. Yeah, this is one of them for sure.
I mean, the Roshi Run had a elite
chokehold
flash in the pan. I mean, this is one of the
chokehold grip.
One of the biggest flash in the pans I think you could ever get to. I think everybody, if you are trying to do a one-hit wonder, you are trying to replicate the Roshi run. I mean, it was such a home run. It was everywhere.
Ubiquitous.
Anybody who was doing anything about men's fashion, you were wearing skin tight joggers and Roshi runs.
Yeah.
That was
no exception.
That was it during the time.
No excuses.
That was it during the time.
Yeah.
Probably a cardigan maybe, but you had that. And then, I mean, the way that the 350 came in is, I mean, it is just, I mean, it is iconic. I mean, when that silhouette released, I think probably the Travis Scott era is probably as close as you could get to the 350 era.
Yeah.
But I don't think the 350, both V1 and V2 era will be beat in hypebeast slam dunk.
It's hard to imagine a world in which they would be. Yeah.
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 So for me, this one's easy because I never got the Roshi run hysteria.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, this one's easy with picking the 350 V1. While I don't own any 350 V1s, I do own the V2s. But I really love that silhouette. That specific style. If you're trying to go for a sweat, kind of like sweatsuit, sweatpants, the Yeezy 350 just looks perfect.
Yeah, it really sets off
that style.
That sort of athleisure fit.
Yes, yeah. Where did you buy into the Roshi run hype?
I never had a pair of Roshi runs. But also admittedly that was right before when I started really getting into sneakers. So it kind of just, I wasn't intentionally seeking them out, nor did I happen to just stumble upon them. I kind of just missed the Roshi run wave. I think in that era of I can picture kind of like what I define as menswear. This is when I was working at the Gap Kids Baby Cap to be specific.
Come on now.
I was doing a lot of Vans at the time. So Vans and Converse were kind of my shoe of choice at that point. So I never really caught the Roshi run wave. However, I will say if we were doing a tier list, whenever we did one of our ranking every foams, clogs, and slides, my head kept wanting to say slogs. It was trying to do slides and clogs, and that's why, I closed my eyes and I really had to think about that. Whenever we did slogs, whenever we did that tier list, and I wanted to put the Salehi Bembury clogs at S tier, you said the only way that happens is if we put the original Crocs clogs at S tier as well, because those had to crawl so those could walk. That being said, you don't have the Yeezy 350s without the Roshi run. The Yeezy 350 does not happen without the Roshi run. So that being said, we can only pick one, but I think it's worth saying that even though now we all kind of look back on the Roshi run era, either with fondness or man, I can't believe we were all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If it didn't happen, the 350 doesn't happen. That was why it happened.
I mean, I think that is a great point. And it is one of those things where it's I think, yes, hindsight and looking back is obviously always, but it is, you cannot deny the crown that the Roshi run wore in its day.
That being said, the 350 V1s are one of those ones that I think we look back at with, rose tinted glasses of that era and that time frame. But I know I've said it before and I'll say it again. When I finally got the turtle doves that they retroed in 2022, I think that it was, and I put them on, it just was no longer the great thing I'd made it out to be in my head. The reality did not hold up to the expectation. And at the time, the shape was great, but today, the 350 V2 is such a more comfortable and, in my opinion, better shape than the 350 V1. And I mean, you can see how many colorways they made of the V1 versus how many they made of the V2. Like they've stuck on the V2 for so long.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like the 350 V1, definitely iconic, in my opinion, better than the Roshi Run, but also the time frame and the colorways of the 350 V1 are iconic. The 350 V2, if I had to choose one to wear every day and style with stuff, I'd go V2.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Even though Turtle Dove is such a hard colorway, and I stand by that.
I even like Moon Rock.
Yeah.
Colorways of the V1 were sweet. Man, I have no idea where you're going.
I'm checking.
Okay, we're going 350.
I'm going 350 V1. I just want to say all that to give credit to the Roshi Run, and that like
100%, yeah.
Yeah, not discrediting as like that old dusty sneaker. Like again, you got to put the respect on it for what it did and what it inspired and how many units it moved. But if I had to pick one, I'd go 350s.
And I do think in 2024 the Roshi Run gets a low, like 100% for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think when we look back, but I do think the way that you spoke about both silhouettes is great. Of being like, yeah, I think we look back at the Roshi Run now and be like, yeah, obviously that was silly, or maybe not obviously, but we look back and be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But then I think nostalgia and hype, I think like you said, give us that rose tinted glasses for the 350 V1.
Yeah.
Of like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great but
shoe.
was it what we thought it was? And I think you bring up obviously the V2 and the, I mean, mass production that I had. They obviously were like, okay, this is clearly
we're gonna stick with this. Yeah. This is doing it. Yeah.
All right. So rounding out the first half of our Sweet 16 is the New Balance 1906R going up against the Nike Vomero 5. Nike Vomero 5, obviously going to be a little bit more of a popular one, especially in today. But if you are holding a Nike Vomero 5 and a New Balance 1906R, kind of side by side, there's a lot of similarity, especially in the cage structure.
Ooh, okay.
Of that and kind of like that kind of mesh like material that both shoes have around each other. So this could be in the same sense of our previous matchup with the 350 V1 and the Roshi Run, where, can you make a claim to say that the New Balance 1906R walked so that the Vomero 5 could run?
I'm going to see the timeline on these two shoes. I don't know the timeline there.
I definitely, for sure, the 1906R is not New Balance's push. It's a big one. I mean, they've got, it's a big silhouette. I think it gets shadows obviously by probably like the 990, 574, things like that. However, if you are into that very like almost like Y2K style shoes, and you haven't looked into the 1906R, I would suggest you kind of give that thing a looky-loo. Okay. To me, I think this one is a little bit, again, one of those kind of like unbalanced matchups.
Yeah.
That you kind of see yourselves in a Sweet 16. Again, not owning, I personally don't own either of these silhouettes. But I love the structure that the Vomero 5 has more than the 1906R. Specifically just that kind of like runner mold that I think the Vomero 5 has. And how it is going to give, it looks like it would give me much more support. And I just really, I think the Vomero 5, specifically that cage, that kind of like almost like it just kind of this like shut out kind of like stream that it has to the cage, I think is a very refreshing look to it, and I like more of its kind of matted like matte finish that it has, rather than the 1906R having more of a metallic. So that gives me my vote for the Vomero 5 going in.
Okay. I think fair take.
Okay.
I would say if you had a pair of Vomero 5s, I don't know if we'd be having too much chatter right now. I don't want to slam dunk on the 1906R because I don't have a pair of them. So this is me acknowledging that like I have a biased take here because just like I have Vomero 5s and I really like Vomero 5s.
Sometimes that is what it is.
To where, yeah, I just, 1906R has just never really jumped out at me in a way where I've been like, I gotta have a pair of those. So I don't know. I feel like I don't have much more to say other than like Vomero 5s. I really like Vomero 5s. 1906Rs, I don't really like 1906Rs that much.
And hey, that's gonna be that's your March Madness bracket. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got a 4 against a 12. You know what I mean? And it just
it's just the way it goes.
Mary's, but you're not going.
Yeah,
you had a good run, but
yeah,
Vanderbilt.
All right, so over to the other side here.
Okay, yep. Back half of our Sweet 16. Still in our Sweet 16 round. We've got the ASICS Gel Light 3, which, I mean, let's be honest, immaculate.
Great silhouette.
Going up against the Dizygotic Project Alpha. This is probably the first, maybe the only time in this bracket where the non-visuals is going to be because the Dizygotic Project Alpha may not be something that jumps out to everyone. However, Ryan and I have done 2 episodes.
You can check them out.
So you can check out the Shoe Podcast for Dizygotic, and you probably will have seen their pair that they have done in collaboration with Cheech and Chong. And I think that was probably their biggest one.
What's the tennis company they most recently did a collaboration with?
Pin.
Yeah. Is it just Pin? Penn? Tennis ball company? Neither of us tennis players here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Pin.
I think it's Pin.
Yeah. That's probably, if you've seen them recently, that's what it's been for, that collaboration. Crazy collab.
Yeah. Looks great. And I know, I've seen it, but I know for sure like the Cheech and Chong got like a lot of social media run. Phenomenal brand. Like I said, Ryan and I have done some episodes. So if you are curious about the Dizygotic Project Alpha, check out us. And we've already been there.
I think when we got them, it was audio only. So probably still, if you want to see a picture of them,
there you go.
Google them. But if you want to hear us talk about them, check out the episode. There you go.
So this one for me specifically, and I think you as well, tough. I feel for me it was tough because I own both.
Yeah.
I own both silhouettes. And I really thought when I was making this collaborate with this bracket that these 2 silhouettes I think were probably the closest in comparability. I think with look, style, how the shoe is just structured, I think they give you the same style when you're trying to make an outfit. Obviously, I think the big thing comes down to, if we are talking key features, is going to be that Gel Light 3, that like split tongue.
Sure. Love it or hate it.
Exactly. Really tough matchup for me on this one because I think both of these silhouettes extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
The Dizygotic Project Alpha, if I know I'm going somewhere where I'm going to be doing a lot of walking, these are the shoes that I bring.
Okay. That's good to know.
Just did a conference in New Orleans, packed these.
Okay.
Dizygotic Project Alpha, because I know I can walk
80 miles.
And my feet aren't going to hurt because of the shoes. My feet are going to hurt just because.
Good co-host to go with it. That's improv. That's improv for you. Yes, and
80 miles. Yes, and
80 miles. Yes, and another 10.
and they'll be mad at me because I'm stopping.
Yeah, keep the show going. I love that. Yeah.
So the dyes I got, like I said, I know, and I haven't put as many miles in my Gel Light 3s, but when I do put those things on, extreme comfort.
Both comfort.
And like I said, both give me the same style. So this one might be, of the Sweet 16, my most difficult way that I'm going. And the only reason I would lean dizygotic is just because of that factor of it's gonna go like just the style of the shoe is gonna go with I don't need to pack multiple shoes.
Yeah.
And the comfort, and I've wear tested them so much, and they have like nothing is falling apart on them.
Okay, that's a good testament to the quality.
That kind of leads me to dizygotic.
Yeah,
but again, I know you also own both silhouettes, so I'm very interested to see your opinion on this matchup.
Yeah, it's tough because part of me is just so inclined to go Asics Gel Light 3 because of it being a
bangers.
Well, and they're both great shoes, but the Asics Gel Light 3 is just like, it's a staple that most people will know, you know? And like,
okay, yeah.
I don't think that the dizygotic Project Alpha being a smaller brand shoe should necessarily be held against them, but I just feel like it's, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of tough to compare, like almost like, what would you call it? Not mass produced, but like a company as big as Asics versus like a very boutique style company like dizygotic. It's just, it's tough to think about. That's what makes it a tough comparison. To your point, both very comfy, both stylish and a little bit off the beaten path. If you're looking for that sort of comfort, but looking for something different from, you know, what everyone else is wearing in like a Saucony or an On Running or a Hoka right now. Like if you're looking to go a little bit off the beaten path and a little bit further from there, couldn't go wrong with either of these. But then part of me also weighs in my head the price point of the dizygotics, which is not necessarily, it's not overpriced for what they are, but it's expensive compared to your average sneaker, but they're not your average sneaker. I will say that for sure. So I don't know.
That I think that does play, and that is tough. It is difficult to have a lot of those outside factors when you are making this, because like you said, you have a giant brand such as Asics going up against a more like boutique style company like dizygotic. And yes, I mean, I think price point does play a point. And dizygotics have that boutique price point. And they are, like I said, I mean, like the quality of the dizygotics is very much there.
Unreal.
But in our episode, that is a factor that we had talked about with these, is that because they're such a lower brand, people I think are going to, it's a harder decision to make to get that, because you're
try
like
them on. You can't, you don't really see them in person anywhere.
And I don't have that brand recognition, things like that. So, you know, I think they're with the Cheech and Chong collab and the Tin. I think they are making those steps of being like, hey, we need to be a recognizable brand. To kind of get there. And I think they are doing that. So,
so where are you
this
at?
This is one of the things where I honestly could see either one of these. I would be happy whichever one moves forward, and also upset that one got left behind. That's what I'm saying. This one to me is the most difficult. Again, just based on my personal preference and my personal experience, I go with the dizygotic. But I could also see you being like, hey, I think Asics should be the move forward, and I would be like, that would make sense.
I don't know if this is thinking too many steps ahead here, but I'm thinking Asics because I'm also thinking, is dizygotic going to fall off in the next round when it goes up against something that's like even more iconic, and Asics would have a better chance of moving further and be more interesting.
Because once we get out of the Sweet 16, we're going to have some uneven matchups coming here. You know what I mean? We're gonna have it right now. The Sweet 16 is tailor made, but once we get into the Elite 8 Final Four, we may be. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, seeing an unbalanced scales here.
I don't know if I necessarily want to get to like the dizygotic versus like example the Nike Dunk, and it's like, well, it's Dunk, you know, but it's like the Asics might be more interesting to discuss, I would say.
And that I could see Asics moving forward.
We're marking it.
Like I said, this one was the one where I was like, I will be happy whoever moves forward, and also upset that the other one got left behind.
And sorry for
whichever silhouette.
Engagement and for the retention here. I'm telling y'all, there's one coming up here that we're already at 40 minutes on the clock here. There's one coming up that's going to add at least 10 minutes to the clock. So, but gracious. I also think once we get out of the Sweet 16 and we kind of talk about each shoe, in depth. Okay,
it's going to move. It's going to move.
Right. Next up.
This next one probably going to move pretty quickly too. We got the Adidas Samba and the Reebok Club C. Kind of. I don't really want to talk ill on either brand, but I'm kind of rocking a hard place here. You know what I mean?
Audience, we might get some time back right here.
Hold on. Do we want to do a timeout? We can make an edit because you know what I didn't. I probably should have made the adjustment. Do we want to just do like classic Vans versus like low top Converse right here?
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Okay. Because those were
we're doing slip-on Vans or just like classic low tops lace-up Vans?
I'll let you go with.
I forget what they're called. We're gonna call them Van Classic non-slip-ons.
Non-slip-on. Okay, that was what I was thinking.
And then these will be Converse Chuck Taylor low.
There you go, low. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay, there you go. I think probably a better.
All right, we're back everywhere. We just put some more time on the clock here. That you made it hard, actually. You just made it so much harder. I was so on board with it, but I'm like, hang on, that actually just got hard.
Yeah.
Dang. Based on my childhood, I want to go Converse Chuck Taylors. If these were specifically Vans slip-on black and pink checkered, then we'd be talking a good bit. I had so many pairs of those. But Converse Chuck Taylor, also the history, just going back, like
I mean OG. I mean, how do you get more original than that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, this comes down to, I mean, obviously both are iconic and have a lot of history.
Yeah.
And are going to give you that same aesthetic.
Sure.
I think again that honestly, Vans versus Converse is almost like Coke versus Pepsi. Like, you're kind of locked in just because that's what my daddy
whatever
drank.
your camp was. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me personally, I would lace up Vans Classics, but again, kind of like you said, going back to that childhood.
Yeah.
I wore Vans Classics. I had more like I've actually never, crazy enough, I've never actually worn a pair of Converse.
How could we trust his opinion on anything? All right.
So,
so we're at a lock here.
We're at a lock here. Okay. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I mean, do we want to just rock paper scissors?
Can we skip this one and go?
Yeah.
Because in the next two brackets, I might be willing to give if I can get.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Okay. Next matchup we have. Tough one. This is a softball one. This one might be like a 8 versus 10 right here.
Yeah.
We got the Nike Air Max 1 versus the New Balance 574. Again, it's tough because you obviously have an icon versus a shooting star. You know what I mean? You're there and you made it to the All-Star.
Yeah.
You made it to the All-Star, but your playing time might not be a lot.
Yeah.
New Balance 574. 574. Yeah. And you got the Air Max. I think both, again, kind of the same vein. They're going to give you the same look. I feel like they're going to give you the same comfort. However, it is the Air Max 1. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Listen, not everyone's going to have an in-depth discussion because we got to, the matchups are what they are, but there's still plenty more to come here.
Because then now our matchup is the Nike Air Fear of God 1 going up against the Yeezy 750.
I feel like you put this one on here to hurt me.
I did.
I feel like this is a mean one to do. And I would have been okay had they eventually met each other, but to intentionally set them out against each other.
First round is tough. Is tough. Now, don't get me wrong. This probably would have been a really good championship round. I do agree. I think this would have been a really, really good championship.
Yeah.
However, when I was putting together, because then it's like, then that means one of these is going up against the Jordan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Spoiler.
and again, well, yeah, I mean,
we all saw the bracket, right? We're here to have fun. We're going to talk about it anyways.
Once I put these on the list, I was like,
60 minutes, okay? Just
I honestly did. I was like, I don't know how long this episode's going to be. Yeah. It might be 15 minutes.
We're doing great.
Yeah. So again, style wise, pretty similar.
Come on.
You want to talk hype?
Yeah. Come on.
With both these, you want to talk.
Yeah.
You want to talk. Take the shoe game and say you don't know what is what because I'm going to show you. Both of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. This is the point of the episode where I step back. I let Landry loose right here.
You let him argue himself for a little bit here. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm honestly letting you make this decision because honestly,
this is tough. The 750, the Yeezy 750 was one of the first shoes that really got me into shoes. I remember being at my office where I worked and my coworker at the time, Blaine, telling me, did you see Kanye is releasing a shoe? And I was like, what? Kanye is releasing a shoe? And with Adidas, and it's the 750. I remember seeing it and be like, I got to get that shoe. Audience, I did not get that shoe. It never came to fruition. It never happened.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people, surprisingly. I was not in the minority.
Yeah.
But then the Fear of God one, man, I just loved that era of Fear of God working with Nike. And like the four silhouettes they put out at the time, the Fear of God one, the Shoot Around, the Skylon, and the Raid, and the Mach. So 5.
The Mach, yeah.
They just hit. They hit on all of them. The Mach, you can go back and listen to the episodes. I tried so hard to like the Machs and make the Machs work, and they just did not fit well on your foot. Anyways, but the Fear of God ones, I did not get them when they came out. It wasn't until years later that I finally have paid resale for used pairs now. And it's tough because I feel like today, the Fear of God ones, I only really wear on occasions where I know I'm going to be out and I'm not going to do a ton of walking. Not that they're uncomfy, but they're not all day comfy, and I don't want to get them messed up. So it's got to like, they're for rare occasions where like I know enough of my day of what's going on, and it involves being out and around people, which is kind of rare, and also that we're not doing too much activities. Yeah. So I don't wear them that much, but all that to say 750s, I feel like I have these same rose tinted glasses that I have for Yeezy 350 V1s where I'm like, I'm so much more nostalgic for the moment that I think if I got them now, I'd be like, what do I wear these with? What do I style these with? You know, like I'm not wearing stacked jeans like that, you know, and I'm like, I don't think I want to wear giant cargos over them. So, it's tough because I love both of these so much for what they are. The Fear of God one is the one that I would wear more. So I would probably choose that one, but that's a hard one.
Me leaning either way, I go with the Fear of God one. Kind of in your same sentiment of if I'm thinking of literally just wearability.
Yeah.
I got to go Fear of God one.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking just specifically shelf candy, I go obviously 750.
Good point.
But they are a shoe and their main purpose is to be on my feet.
So backtracking a little bit in the ASICs and dizygotic discussion, you were leaning a little bit more dizygotic. You let me talk you into ASICs. I'm happy to give you Vans then.
Okay.
Instead of Converse.
That's fair.
I thought I was going to have to really bargain between Fear of God 1 and Yeezy 750. Yeah. I didn't know if you had a strong opinion, and I didn't know what my opinion was, but I was prepared to fight for it if it wasn't yours. So I was holding Vans as a bargaining chip, but that said, okay, we can move it back. All right. So Elite 8.
Okay. Yeah. Elite 8. Here we go. Okay. We're going back. So first half, Elite 8, we have the Jordan 1 high going up against the Nike Air Max 90.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes. That's tough.
This is
a slugfest coming in here.
Well, it's a personal preference, but it's also a personal preference of like, if you could only choose between like a leather high top basketball shoe that's pretty flat on the bottom or a low top running shoe that could have mesh and be comfy to wear all day. And the average person would be like, why would I choose the leather high top basketball shoe? And it's like, because it's the coolest shoe, like it's the coolest one. So do you want to be cool or do you want to be comfortable is really what we're deciding here.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I am toxic and I'm choosing the Jordan 1 High. I'm choosing like if someone's like, you're stuck on a desert island. What do you pick? I'm picking the breads. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
That is the burden of being a sneakerhead, is having to look in the mirror and go, I'm picking what's cool over what's comfortable today.
I know what I did when we went to Chicago for SneakerCon. and here's the thing. I didn't learn my lesson. I'll do it again.
Yeah. Wipe my memory, Doc.
Wear thicker socks and buy Band-Aids.
Only a sneakerhead would be like, it was me actually. I'm sorry, my feet were wrong there.
I'm wearing leather high tops.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, there we go. Okay. Last matchup of the Elite 8 in the first half is the Yeezy 350 V1 versus the Nike Vomero 5. Again, I'm gonna go with you on this one because you've had experiences with both silhouettes. Yeah. I have what I like better, but I'd love for your input.
For the significance in sneaker culture, you go the 350 V1. For the what would I wear today, you go the Nike Vomero 5. So it's kind of like, I could see the argument for either. It's really just every person. What are you prioritizing? And to be fair, I know we just came out of a bracket where I'm like, I'm picking what's cool over what's comfortable. But in this case, what's cool is not as relevantly cool today as what's actually also comfortable. What's comfortable in this case, the Vomero 5, is also more relevantly cool than the 350 V1. So
I agree.
Kind of maybe it's the recency bias, call it. I would go Vomero 5.
So here, I was also leaning Vomero 5. And I was leaning Vomero 5 almost in the same vein of me kind of leaning in the same of like the Jordan 1 High, where I do think, obviously we have like some recency bias with the 5. However, the structure and silhouette of the shoe is still it's a classic shoe structure that has been around since the 90s.
Yeah.
So while this shoe hasn't been around that long, I think it's the same thing. I think if you would obviously like, okay, oh my gosh, I just got a pair of turtle doves.
Yeah.
And then you get them and you're like, oh, this maybe isn't what I thought it was going to be. Kind of like that. Kind of like a you met your hero moment.
Yep.
Whereas I think the Vomero 5 is like, no, this is new, but also classic. It is a new take on a classic thing. And I think given the same time between when the 350s came out and now versus when the Vomero 5s came out and then that same time difference, I think we will still be like, nope, still happy with my Vomeros, or would still get a Vomero.
Yeah.
Because of, I think, comfort and still style-wise. So I was already leaning Vomero 5s.
We're doing it. Let us know in the comments down below if we're messing up or not.
Yeah, probably.
I'd love to hear from everyone. I love opinions.
Yeah. Okay. Second half of our Elite 8. We've got the Asics Gel Light 3 going up against the Vans Classics. This one, it's one of those things when you're watching the March Madness and you're like, oh, happy made it out of and like maybe it wasn't an upset, but you were still kind of an underdog, and I'm so proud of you. But then you get to the Elite 8 and you go like, darn, you got to face Kentucky, and I'm really sorry for you. Like, don't get me wrong.
You want to root for Asics, but they're going up against Vans.
Yeah. Well, I'm the opposite.
Oh, you want to root for Vans, but they're going up against Asics?
No, I'm rooting. No. I'm rooting. Asics is winning.
Oh, wow.
You want to put Vans moving.
Vans just more. It's in the name Classics. Whoa. It's in the name Classics.
Okay, never mind.
Asics are cool. Don't get me wrong. Asics cool and comfortable. Yeah? If I had to choose one to wear today, it probably still would be Asics.
Actually,
you'd probably go opposite. You're wearing more Vans than Asics.
I am.
Audience, he just
Vans Classics.
He just saw himself in the mirror.
I forgot how many Vans Classics I wear on the daily.
Who's this guy with all the Vans in my house? Oh, wait. Yeah. It me.
Yeah. Uh-oh, Kentucky goes down.
Sorry,
Kentucky goes down.
Yeah.
Wow. There it is. Yeah. Okay. I mean, man, Air Max 1, last matchup of our Elite 8, we've got the Air Max 1 going up against the Fear of God 1. And I feel like I gotta go Air Max 1.
Air Max 1 is classic. Fear of God 1 is a great shoe. It's a phenomenal shoe, but it's just, Air Max 1 is classic. It's Air Max 1. It's just like,
it's the Air Max.
That's right. It's the Air Max 1. Like, I'm sorry that's the argument, but that's the argument. Like, yeah, I love the Fear of God, the Nike Air Fear of God 1. Yeah.
Looks beautiful.
Have two pairs. I was looking at oatmeals earlier today. I was like, dang, that colorway goes good. That'd be good for fall. But again, like,
Quaker.
I don't I don't wear the two pairs I have now enough to justify getting a third pair of Fear of God ones. They're so pretty though.
Well, let me tell you what, I will buy more Air Maxes.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Ooh, here we go. Final four. Hedge your bets because we're getting nutty. All right. Again, I'll be honest. This is not where I thought the Final Four was going to go.
What's not in here that you thought would be in here?
So, okay. So coming from the left side.
Yeah.
I knew the Jordan 1 high was going to go. I knew the Jordan 1 high. I knew it was going to be whatever we came out from the Air Max Ultra Boost. So I was like, that's out. I figured Vomero 5 was going to go. I figured 350. So maybe this kind of, I thought the 350 would be
I could see the
Jordan
case
1.
for thinking the 350 would be against the Jordan 1 for sure.
I kind of thought, but here's the thing. The real upset, here you go, is the second half of the lineup here. I figured Air Max 1 was going to take it. I figured between the Asics and the Dizygotic, one of those out over the original Samba and Club C.
Sure.
So,
sure.
So Vans Classic and the Converse being a late edition. I could have sworn I thought between the Fear of God 1 and the Yeezy 750, one of those is going to make it all the way.
So I think the big surprise here is that there's no Yeezy in the Final Four. Because there was Yeezy on either side and two of the best, Yeah.
This is a true Cinderella season.
There being no Yeezy in the Final Four, but Vans Classics in the Final Four. Sorry, sneakerheads. We just lost our card. We just lost our credibility right there.
I will say, but this is the beauty. This is why people do brackets. You know what I mean? Like this is the greatness. Okay. Our Final Four, first half, we've got the Jordan 1 high going against a Nike Vomero 5.
Yeah. I see the championship in my head already. I don't know if it's too early to call it. All right,
just click it.
Jordan 1 high, Air Max 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna have the Air Max 1 beat the Vans Classic. This is back to the Jordan 1 high versus Air Max 90 discussion, except it's not the 90 now, it's the 1, which is
I mean,
these are top 2 Nike silhouettes.
100%.
In my opinion. I know right now the Dunk and the Air Force 1 are huge. I don't mean to say right now. They've been huge.
They've been
the Jordan 1 high, the Air Max 1.
They got the spotlight right now.
The Dunk, the Air Force 1. Those 4 have been top 5 Nike silhouettes forever now.
Back
so
30 years, 40 years.
This is and for me I think I'm at 7 pairs of Jordan 1s, 5 pairs of Air Max 1s. This to me every day is I'm doing the championship in my head every day in my walk-in closet. Yeah, every day I'm looking at this championship and being like, what do I go for?
And this is tough because it's like, okay, do I want a high top outfit or do I want a low top outfit?
That's what makes it so tough. Yeah.
Am I wearing shorts or am I wearing pants?
Where are you at? Where are you at on this?
This one is, I'll be honest, this is tough. It's tough because I'll wear high tops with shorts. And I know a lot of people, I think you're very much like, if I'm
not there yet. Yeah.
So to me, I'll wear either of these with pants or with shorts. I don't really mind.
Yeah.
The hard thing is I think an Air Max 1 takes the cake on how good it looks in both.
Yeah.
Obviously an Air Max 1 looks better in shorts, and I think like a Jordan 1 High looks better with pants.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you switch that, a Jordan 1 High in shorts looks good. I think it's fine. But I think like an Air Max 1 in pants, I'm like, yeah, it's still a banger.
Still a banger. Yep.
It's still a banger. You know what I mean? And so, and then just like the versatility, the classic cut, I think also with Air Max, specific like Air Max 1, I think taking advancements in sneaker like construction, but
technology, yeah,
exactly, yeah, thank you.
yeah
Sneaker construction,
that's fine. It's same thing.
Them being able to take advantage of that and still keep that original look, I think is what gives it that final 10-second run. I think Air Max 1 is behind. I think it's a back and forth game the entire time. But I think Air Max 1 gets the final possession.
Wow.
And they sink the
wow.
3-point win.
I don't know.
That is
they're both
that's my argument.
Yeah. The issue is that they're both so equally defining and cemented in sneaker culture. Like they're just they're top 5 of all sneakers all time. And so, but it's just kind of like such a, to echo your sentiments, the Air Max 1 is so important because of like what it represented in technology of Nike exposing and showing the Air and what that did for their sales and just Air technology in general. But the Jordan 1 High and the Jordan brand that it became a whole brand, its own company within Nike, and like what it did for sneaker culture of like people wanting to like really collect so much more, both so like equally significant and important in different ways. If you would ask me on my average day, if I had to pick like one silhouette, my favorite silhouette all time, I would tell you the Jordan 1 High. So I don't know. I don't want to lock us at a standstill here for 10 minutes while we try to find nuances, but
I will also say in my everyday life, I'm more likely to lace up a Jordan 1 High than my Air Max 1s.
I don't mean to counter you here, but I'm the opposite where I'd probably
You're the opposite? Oh my God.
I wear Air Max.
Okay, so you're an Air Max 1.
I wear them more because they're so easy to throw on. Whereas like high tops can be a little bit more work and stuff like that. And again, I don't necessarily wear high tops with shorts all that much. And in Louisiana, that's 90% of the time. So I don't mean to stop you if you're willing to go Jordan 1 High and we're leaving it there, but I do want to offer the counterpoint.
That was then to me, I feel like it's the Air Max 1.
Man, I'm happy enough to click it because I could be happy with either here.
Yeah.
And I don't have the counter argument in my head for the Jordan 1 High to spend another 15 minutes here to going for it.
Yeah. Wow. And that's what I'd like. I did not like when I was putting this together.
Who ran in the Air Max 1? Because we know who played in the Jordan 1. That's a bad argument. I'll put the Air Max 1 back down there, right. But I wanted to hit one last curveball.
Yeah. When I put this bracket together, I don't think I saw the Air Max 1 being.
I thought for sure Jordan 1 High would take it. And I still, in my heart 100%. Of hearts, feel like it should, but I can't articulate why. I'm happy to cede it to the Air Max 1 here.
This is a March Madness where people go, Jordan 1 was supposed to be the championship, but there was just something special this tournament, and that's why Air Max won.
There's something about the way that Air Max 1 played.
We know that Jordan High is gonna be in the championship game again next year.
Yeah.
And they're probably gonna win it because the Jordan 1 is a championship school. But there was just something this year, this bracket for the Air Max.
There you have it.
And it took it. I mean, I am like I said, I am very excited about this win. I think that this was a blast. I would love to hear, specifically, obviously the championship game. What do people think about that? Ryan, I know you're definitely more of a freak in the sheets than I am. I would love to be able to put this in the Discord and see everyone like in the Discord, like them be able to like
everyone
have
fill out their own version of it.
Yeah.
We'll drop everyone it in the Discord. There you go. We will find a way. Yeah. It might not be on the day this episode goes live. I just want to be clear.
Well, no.
But if you want to do your own version of the bracket and share it with us,
give time for people. Yeah, give time for people to join the Discord.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to be able to put this in the Discord for everybody to go through, because I would absolutely love to see like one who's someone's championship, but then also the route that it got to. And I would love, even in like, you don't need to go through every bracket like we did, but even just be like, this is why this one was my championship.
Yeah.
And even if you just tell the story from the Sweet 16 to the championship, would be, I think, very cool.
We will have the Discord linked in the episode description down below if you want to join and hang out with us and share your bracket with us. You can leave a comment if you're angry about our bracket, but sharing your own bracket is a much better way.
I agree. I think a much more fun way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love for you to show me why I was wrong than you yelling mean things at me.
You are wrong.
I have feelings.
Yeah, we do.
I have
We're
feelings.
humans behind this camera after all.
Yeah. You can say you're wrong, but just show your work.
That's right. I want proof. I want evidence. All right. Okay. Well, fun episode. Thank you for putting that together. That was a good time.
Hey, well, like I said, I had a blast doing it, making it, and also like doing this episode. I think it was really fun. Sorry to all of our viewers for the beautiful things that they're used to, because Ryan is a true warlock with doing visuals. There you go.
That's right. I got a copy of Canva and no one can stop me.
Hey, but what he does with it, you think it's a full version of it?
You think it's Photoshop. You think it's pirated. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Lawyers. All right. Thank you, everyone, for checking out another episode of Shoe Podcast. You can find us online at shoepodcast.com for links of all of our socials and everything. But you can also find us on those socials at Shoe Podcast, Instagram, TikTok primarily, but everywhere except for where we're not. Lastly, if you're watching on YouTube and you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment down below letting us know how do you think our bracket played out here. And if you want to submit your own, you can do so by using the template we'll have in our Discord linked in the episode description down below.
Come on, have fun.
Anything you want to leave the people with before we go?
Get a smartwatch.
I don't love this take, but let's hear it.
Lost your phone? Boom, ping it. Oh, you're in a busy thing.
We need more than that one. Yeah. Okay.
Boom, can just check. Also, one of the biggest things that I do love about the smartwatch that I think is the best, when I am in a new city, specifically like a big city, I don't really like having anything in my pocket, so I've got like that crossbody. Okay. I like keeping my phone. I like keeping everything in there, nice, right in front behind some zippers. Also a new city. I'm terrible with directions in the city that I live in. So I love that I can use the maps and then it's just connected straight to my watch.
Okay.
And all I can do is it just looks like I'm checking the time, but I'm actually saying where the hell do I need to be going? So it adds some safety.
Okay.
When you're traveling, if you don't want to look too touristy, like you're looking at your maps. And then also if you're like, I just want to keep all my personal belongings, kind of like, I don't really want to be pulling it in and out, dropping it, things like that. So, I would say smartwatch is the way to go. If not, honestly, go just watch. I think having a watch, it seems silly because we have smartphones on us and it's easy to check the time. So that's why I kind of say go smartwatch.
Okay.
So
I'm not sold yet, but I hope our audience is.
Hey, if you're fitness, you got that going for breathe easy,
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for checking out another episode of Shoe Podcast. We'll be back next week to rank the best Halloween sneakers that are coming out this year, and the episode coming out in time to where if you want to grab any of them, you should be able to, assuming they've released already. That's not within our control, but we'll give you the rankings so you know the best ones to get.
There you go, baby.
See you next week for spooky season. I'm your co-host, Ryan Landry.
I'm your terrifying co-host, Henry Young.
Bye.